So, what if I told you that the whole debate blowing up right now over a new AI image editor could actually give us a super clear roadmap for the future of our food? I know it sounds a little weird, right? But the ethical questions, the excitement, and the fears around a tool that can literally change a photo with a simple text command, they're a perfect mirror for the challenges we're facing with the next generation of food technology. All right, let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover today. We are going to connect the dots from the very first farmers all the way to wild stuff like nanotechnology and a brand new AI tool, all to figure out who really gets to decide what our future looks and tastes like. To really understand where we're going, we've got to look back. Because when it comes to human innovation, there's this pattern that just keeps repeating itself. Every single great leap forward, well, it casts a pretty long shadow. For literally thousands of years, we have been engineering these massive agricultural revolutions. And every single one of them, from domesticating the first plants to the Green Revolution's superwheat, solved a gigantic problem. Basically, how do we stop starving and feed more and more people? But each incredible breakthrough came with, let's call it, a hidden cost. So here's the main takeaway. Progress has always been a double-edged sword. Sure, moving from hunting and gathering to farming gave us civilization as we know it, but it also meant our diets got a lot less diverse and sometimes less nutritious. The very things that saved millions from famine in the last century also got us hooked on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. And if you want to see the scale of those unintended consequences, just look at this number, 70%. That's how much of our planet's fresh water is now used by the very same agricultural system that was designed to save us. It's a system that's also eroding topsoil and is responsible for almost a quarter of all greenhouse gases. See the pattern? Each solution creates a brand new problem. Okay, so that brings us to the next big leap, the world of nanotechnology in our food. This is where science gets incredibly, mind-bogglingly small, but with potentially massive implications for all of us. On one hand, the promise is just breathtaking. We're talking about nanoparticles that can deliver fertilizers with surgical precision, packaging that literally tells you when your food is about to spoil, and even ways to boost the nutritional value of what we eat. It's a vision of a food system that's smarter, way more efficient, and so much less wasteful. But, and this is a big but, here's the other edge of that sword. Scientists are also raising some serious alarms about something called nanotoxicity. The very thing that makes these particles so powerful, how tiny they are, might also let them pass through cell walls and mess with our bodies in ways we just don't understand yet. Some studies are even suggesting a risk of DNA damage. Now, this whole dilemma, incredible promise versus unknown danger, it can feel a little abstract. So let's look at the exact same pattern playing out right now, in real time, in a world we all get, a brand new AI image editor called Nano Banana. Okay, so Nano Banana is this new AI from Google that lets you do wild things with pictures just by typing what you want. You can tell it, hey, put my cat on Mars, or turn this napkin sketch into a 3D model, and boom, it does it in seconds. The public reaction has been absolutely explosive, and it perfectly mirrors the conversation we should be having about food tech. So on one side, you've got people on Reddit and everywhere else just celebrating this thing as a total revolution. They see it as giving good enough expert skills to everybody. You don't have to spend years learning Photoshop anymore to bring an idea to life. It's all about unlocking this massive wave of creativity for millions. But then you have the other side. People are quickly finding all the weird flaws. The tool makes these bizarre mistakes like giving people 6 fingers or creating other strange artifacts. It's a pretty powerful reminder that there's often this huge gap between the slick marketing of a new technology and how it actually works out in the real world. And this, right here, is where the two worlds just perfectly collide. The whole debate around this AI tool maps one-to-one onto our food dilemma. For every amazing promise, like saving time or democratizing skills, there is a major dark side. With Nano Banana, it's deepfakes and job loss. With nanotech on our food, it's potential health risks and environmental damage. It is literally the same conversation, just happening in a different arena. So what's really going on here? These parallel conversations, one about an AI image tool, the other about nanoparticles on our dinner plates, they both point to the exact same fundamental breakdown in the system. Whether we're talking about AI art or genetically engineered food, we're all asking the same urgent questions. Who gets to decide what risks are okay? Who's responsible when it all goes wrong? And maybe the most important question of all, who even gets a voice in shaping these powerful tools that are going to completely reshape our world? This disconnect is so common, it actually has a name: the citizen consumer paradox. As citizens, we might say we care deeply about sustainability and animal welfare, but then, as consumers, standing in the grocery aisle, we often reach for the cheaper, more convenient option. This happens because these new technologies are usually cooked up in a lab, totally disconnected from the complex and, yeah, sometimes contradictory values of the people they're supposed to be for. And that leaves us with what might be the single most important question of our time. In an age where innovation is moving at lightning speed, do we as citizens have any real say? Or are we just supposed to be passive consumers of whatever future the designers and the engineers decide to build for us? So how do we fix this? How do we actually bridge this huge gap between the people making the tech and the rest of us? Well, there's a really fascinating new approach starting to emerge. You can think of it as a new recipe for designing technology with people, not just for them. The big idea is called crowdsourced ethics, and it's all about completely flipping the script. Instead of a company building some new tech in secret and then trying to convince us all it's great, this model brings citizens, scientists, and ethicists into the room right from the very beginning to co-design the technology based on our shared public values. And this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. There's an actual, actionable framework called a moral food lab. The process is pretty straightforward. Instead of designing behind closed doors, you start by interviewing everybody, from farmers to consumers to scientists. Then you engage the public on a massive scale to debate different ethical scenarios. The whole point is to figure out what people's shared values are and then translate those values into concrete design rules before the technology is even built. In the end, it doesn't matter if we're talking about an AI that can create any image we dream of, or a nanoparticle that makes our food last longer. The big takeaway is exactly the same. Technology is never neutral. It always comes with values baked right into it. By empowering citizens to help shape that technology from the very start, we can actually forge a path where innovation doesn't just happen to us, but happens for us, reflecting our collective hopes for a better future. So that leaves one question for you. What value would you bring to the table?